Hey, what's up friends of Fuller Farm? With the election happening, I wanted to do another little video about prepping, because it's been a while since I've done a prepping video. Now, no matter who you're voting for, if you're like me, you've probably read and heard for months and months about the potential for civil unrest and violence after the election, no matter who ends up winning the election. And we've already seen a lot of that civil unrest this year across the country, culminating in a lot of violence and destruction to personal property. Now, many think it's just the tip of the iceberg and things will get even worse after the election. So despite everything that's going on, my hope is that everyone will rise above all of the hate that's going on and move forward peacefully after the election. With that being said, though, I wanted to share 10 things or areas that you can do right now to prepare for civil unrest in your neck of the woods, or for any emergency for that matter. So first off, civil unrest can take many forms, from peaceful marches and demonstrations all the way to blatant destruction against people, property, and even critical infrastructure, right? So the electric grid. So you want to be ready for anything that could happen. And it's never too late to prepare, so I hope this list will give you some ideas and things that you may want to consider. So first up that I want to cover is shelter. So you need to figure out whether you're going to shelter in place or you're going to have to bug out to somewhere else, whether it's your cabin way out in the woods or it's your Aunt Matilda's and you need to stay there for a week or two. So it probably depends on where exactly you live. You know, if you're in downtown or you're in the center of the city, then it's probably a good idea to be prepared to bug out and take off to one of those locations. But if you've already had a demonstration that's in your riot near your home, it's probably going to happen again. For the most part, though, the demonstrations have stayed away from suburbia, so you're probably safe hunkering down at home with your family if you live far from the city centers, but still you should be prepared for that to change. Next up is food and water. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on food and water, but ideally you want at least a 30-day food and water supply. If you have to, start out small with a 72-hour supply of food. There's many companies that sell kits that are pre-made that you can buy, or you can also look at what's contained in those kits and just build your own. Now, after the events of this year, many finally realize how fragile the supply chain can be and how quickly all the food can disappear from store shelves. You know, it's been said that stores in general keep 3 days worth of food. And if the trucks can't deliver, then we're not getting food there. Next up, warm clothes and blankets. Obviously, the weather's getting colder for much of the country. And you want to think what you're going to need to stay warm if the power does go out. What kind of clothing do you need? What kind of blankets are you going to need for an extended period? Or what if you're on the road? What kind of blankets will you need? So that's one thing to consider if you have to sleep in your vehicle or if you don't have electricity. Speaking of power, do you have a generator or a backup way to charge your phone? And if you do have that generator, have you started it in a while? Something that I like to do is every few weeks I like to restart the generator just to make sure the battery is topped off and that the engine is in tip-top shape. So be prepared for power, whether it's generator or some other solar or some other method to charge your phone. Next up, you want to consider cooking sources. So if you don't have power, how are you going to cook? Do you need to make sure your propane tanks are full, or do you have a camp stove that you can use in an emergency with a small little propane container or tank, or do you need to stock up on charcoal or lighter fuel if that's how you're going to cook if you have no power? How about light? There's another one to consider is, are you ready to invest in a generator if you don't have one? Or do you have a lantern that you're going to use fuel with that you need to stock up on that fuel? Or flashlights with lots of batteries. Batteries are often the first thing to go in emergencies. I've seen during a hurricane, the batteries sell out. How about candles? A lot of house fires are started by unattended candles, so you want to make sure that you're monitoring their use if you're going to use them. Next up is toiletries, which a lot of people learn the hard way, how quick things like toilet paper can sell out at the store. So a lot of people realize that now. But do you have a 30-day supply of things like toothpaste, shampoo, or how about feminine hygiene products? So if you want to personally identify the most critical toiletries to you and stock up on those items. Now here's something you can definitely do right now. Make sure all of your cars and gas tanks are all full, whether it's for the generator or your car. If you need to run a generator for an extended period, or if you need to get out of town without stopping in the city to refuel, you'll want to have full tanks of gas. Now, after those run out, if the power goes out, that means most of the gas stations won't be able to pump gas. So you will not be able to fill your car up or get more fuel for that generator. So again, my suggestion is right now, before the election, top off on your gas tanks, fill up all the tanks. Cash, that's another thing you can do right now. In the middle of an emergency, you do not want to be heading to an ATM. It's suggested actually that you should always have at least $500 to $1,000 cash available to you. If the power goes out, you need to be able to buy food and you can't use your credit card or debit card, or if suddenly again you can't use your card and you're on the road and you need to stay a few nights at a hotel, you're going to want to have access to cash in those scenarios. So that's something you could do right now. Go grab a little bit of extra cash. During the emergency, you do not want to be heading out. That's another thing I saw during the preparation for a hurricane, is people running to the bank to get cash from the ATM, knowing that the power is probably going to be out and it's their last chance to get cash. So during the emergency is not the time to do that. And then last of all, and I'm not going to go into detail with this one, it's pretty obvious, but it's defense or self-defense. Whatever you use to express your Second Amendment rights or protect yourself, are you stocked up like you should be? Is it easily accessible if needed to protect your home and family? Well, that's it, friends. I hope there was something in this video that gives you some ideas on how you could prepare for civil unrest or any emergency for that matter. Again, hopefully we don't have anything excessive after the election, but I want you all to be prepared. So thanks for watching all of our videos and supporting Fuller Farm. Please smash that like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe and press that notifications bell. Yeah, thanks for watching and stay safe out there, everyone.